If you're hustling those 18-hour days, running on caffeine and willpower, listen up. It's not about managing your time. It's about managing your energy. 10 hours of work on an empty tank can accomplish less than 5 hours on the full throttle. So if you feel exhausted, but guilty about, slowing down, stay with me. This is about working smarter, not just harder, and building long-term success without burning out. I used to wake up before 4 a.m. and then collapse in bed, around midnight. I would talk about how many long hours I worked. I thought I could outwork everyone. Well, let me tell you what, I was completely wrong. Time is fixed. There's 24 hours in a day. Take it or leave it. But your energy, that's a whole different game. Energy can surge or crash depending on how you really treat it. And when you're depleted of energy, those extra hours really don't mean a whole lot. 10 hours of work on an empty tank can accomplish less than 5 hours on the full throttle. I learned this when my endless grind nearly cost me my health, my family, and ironically, the success that I was actually chasing. Stay with me. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share the mindset shift and practical strategies that saved my entrepreneurial journey. This is about working smarter, not just harder, and building long-term success without burning out. And trust me, it all starts with how you manage your energy. Now, a few years ago, I was growing perception engineering. I was leading projects, managing client relationships, and trying to scale the business. Now, my schedule, that was complete chaos. I'd bounce back and forth between meetings and then those late night engineering design changes. I was checking the final designs. I would have lunch at my desk and still had a long to-do list that never stopped just growing. It was out of control. I thought I had to be the one that did everything. Every email, every quote, every approval, it had to go through me. But beneath that pride, I was actually falling apart. I remember so many evenings vividly. I'd be sitting in front of the computer, fully aware of everything that I needed to do, and yet completely frozen, just staring at the screen, waiting for the next cup of coffee to kick in so that I could force myself through the next task. It wasn't just fatigue, it was really mental exhaustion. That became normal for me. Surviving from caffeine hit to caffeine hit. And then one night, after hours of staring blankly at a spreadsheet, I shut my laptop and just sat there. I knew something was broken. I was running the business that I had dreamed of, but felt like a prisoner to it. Now, this was the start of my wake-up call. I had to ask myself, what am I really doing this all for? I always said that my family was my why and the reason that I was working so hard. But if you looked at my life, you'd think my why was actually work. The harsh truth, I had a life that looked successful on paper, but I was disconnected from those who mattered most. I was burnt out, irritable, and hardly present. If you don't believe me, look back at some of those early videos on this channel right now. This realization had me start to get deeper into the right books and get connected with strong mentors. I was really willing to try anything at this time. I needed to find a better way. That's when I discovered the concept that changed everything. You need to manage your energy, not just your time. It felt like someone finally put into words what I was experiencing. My problem wasn't a lack of hours in the day, it was how I was using those hours and how I was ignoring the fuel that powered them, my energy. Think about it. Time is constant. You can't stretch it, but your energy is renewable. It ebbs and it flows throughout the day. Some hours you're in the zone, you're crushing it, but then other times you're kind of dragging your feet, held back. Traditional time management would have you fill every single hour with some type of task. But if you fill an hour when you're running on fumes, what do you really accomplish? Very little. What if instead you optimized for energy? As I started, I could easily see that not all hours of mine were equal. I was up and I was down, not consistent with my energy. I found that 1 hour of creative work when I was alert and energized was actually worth more like 3 hours when I was wiped out. This was a game changer for me. I stopped asking, how can I fit more into 1 hour? And started asking, when am I at my best? And how can I get more of those times in my day? And then how can I do more in each of those moments? The answer is actually pretty simple when you take the time to think about it. It meant prioritizing my well-being, sleep, exercise, nutrition, not as an afterthought, but as a non-negotiable part of my schedule. I realized that if I treated my body like a machine, I needed to fuel and maintain it like one. I mean, if you think about the way you get to work each day, our cars need preventative maintenance. We need to ensure that we're not going to break down on the side of the highway on our way in. I mean, think about our bodies in the same way. Now, for me, shifting into this mindset was just step one. Next, I needed to change how I worked day to day. So I sat down and performed what I learned was actually an energy audit. I grabbed a notebook and mapped out a typical week, noting the times when I felt on fire and then those when I felt drained. Morning, late afternoons, after meetings, I got super honest about those tasks that gave me energy and what really sucked it out of me. Now, after laying all that out, the patterns really jumped out. For me, I loved early mornings, and I still do today. I'm talking 4 a.m. early. My mind is fresh and I am in the flow. By mid-afternoon, I'd hit a wall. That 3 p.m. slump would always get me. Yet, I would still be trying to do important work during those low energy hours, then trying to catch up late at night. No wonder I was exhausted. It's easy when I go back and look at it. So what I had to do was I had to redesign my schedule around my natural rhythm. I reserved and blocked my high energy hours. That's when I tackled my most important and demanding tasks, my deep work, my strategy work, maybe some content creation, maybe some decision making. I would protect those hours intentionally. Meetings, routine phone calls, maybe those minor emails, those get pushed, maybe to the afternoon, after lunch. I started using a concept called the perfect week. Basically, I block scheduled my ideal week in advance, ensuring everything that mattered, work tasks, family time, exercise, and even downtime, all had its own place. I treated a 5 p.m. family dinner or a 6 a.m. gym session with the exact same respect as a client meeting. If someone tried to book over my workout or family time, I'd say, sorry, I'm already busy. I already have different obligations. I was committed to my priorities. Now, after implementing this, the difference was night and day. I went from feeling like a slave to my calendar to being the architect of my time. Instead of time dictating my energy, I was letting my energy dictate how I spent my time, and productivity through the roof. Those key morning hours when I felt fresh became ultra productive. By the time I hit that afternoon lull, I had already knocked out the majority of my major items. It took discipline to stick to this new schedule, but the result made it easy. I was getting more done by 2 p.m. than I used to accomplish the entire day. Now, optimizing my schedule was very huge, but I knew I had to face the ugly truth. I was trying to do everything myself. This is the curse of many entrepreneurs I know. We wear all the hats because we think we have to, or because maybe we secretly think no one else can do it the way we can. Does that sound familiar? Now, this mentally had me bogged down. I had millions of tasks, both big and small, and it was a recipe for burnout. So I made a decision that some people are not going to like to hear. I decided to do less. Now, let me be very clear. That doesn't mean to achieve less. It meant free myself up to achieve more of what truly matters. I took a hard look at the never-ending task list and applied a framework I learned from my business coach called the 4 Ds. First, delete it. Some tasks don't need to be done at all. This was busy work, and I could eliminate with no real consequence. Second, delegate it. These are tasks that had to get done, but not necessarily by me. I started handing off accounting, scheduling, simple marketing, you name it. Now let me be clear, it is okay to ask for help. People that actually care about you want to come alongside you and want to see you succeed. And 3, defer it. Not everything needs action right now. I postponed non-urgent tasks to a later time or date. And often when that later date came, I actually found that they weren't even needed anymore, or actually they had resolved themselves. These are the someday, maybe later things, not the right now things. Number 4, do it. Finally, now I've got the list that only I can do, and I had to do it right now. These are the ones that truly required my personal touch or high level attention. These ones stayed on my plate. I went through my entire workload like this, one item at a time. The result, I shrunk my to-do list dramatically. I wasn't juggling 50 tasks in my head anymore. I had maybe 5 key things on my plate each day, and I could focus on them 100%. Now, delegation turned out to be key. And oh my goodness, it was not easy at first. As a recovering perfectionist, I had thought if I don't do it, it will not get done right. But this next quote shattered that myth for me. 80% done by someone else is 100% freaking awesome. In other words, if someone can do the job almost as well as you can, that's a win. Why? Because it frees you up to focus on those bigger things. After this mindset shift, I realized I'd been holding on to tasks that others could handle just fine, simply because of my ego or fear of letting go. So I started outsourcing and also hiring. I brought on an assistant to handle my emails, scheduling. I also hired someone to edit these videos. And that was the start. At first, things came back maybe 80% as good as I wanted them done. And that was okay. It was actually good enough. Sometimes I'd tweak the final 20%. Often I didn't even need to. My business did not fall apart. In fact, it started growing even faster because I was focusing my energy on high impact activities, the kind of strategic work and relationship building that actually drives growth, instead of spinning my wheels in details that really didn't matter. On top of my business performance improving, my stress levels actually decreased. I could actually shut my laptop at a reasonable hour, knowing that the world would not end because I left some emails for tomorrow or let my team handle those customer follow-ups. The superhero, do-it-all-myself mentality was killing me. Building a team and system to support me gave me my life back. I was literally buying back my time by paying others to do the tasks that drained me. I am here telling you that this has been the best investment that I have ever made. Now, with a smarter schedule and a lighter to-do list, I finally had the breathing room to focus on the most important asset in my business, myself. It was time to reclaim my energy in a very literal sense, by taking care of my body and my mind like I'd never had before. First, I committed to physical health. No more cutting sleep for extra work. I actually set a bedtime alarm, and yes, it is very early. I went from 3 to 5 hours of sleep a night to a solid 7 to 8 hours. Waking up truly rested has such a massive impact on the outcome of my day. I had never connected the true difference of this in my life before. Next, nutrition. Living on coffee and fast food wasn't helping me in this process, so I cleaned up my diet just enough to avoid those junk food crashes. More water, more protein, less sugar. Now, remember when I said my family was my big why? I was done giving them the scraps of whatever energy was left over after work. I blocked out dinner and bedtime with my kids as sacred. I can't tell you how good it feels when my son sees me in the evening and instead of "Dad's too tired," I can say, "Let's go play. I've got energy to do that today." I also rethought my environment and relationships. Negative, toxic people, the energy vampires who bring you down. I began to distance myself from them. Instead, I spent more time with those people that uplift and energize me. If you want to know more about now the type of people that I spend more time with, check out my podcast, the Engineered Success Podcast. Now, as I put these changes into practice, the energy-focused scheduling, my business started thriving like never before. What I have experienced is that you can't be consistent if you're burned out every other month. By managing my energy, I created a sustainable pace that I can keep up for years, even decades. You actually may be in the middle of this right now if you're watching this. When you get into that point, when even the work that you loved becomes a grind, I was starting to resent my business. It's actually a scary place to be. Regaining my energy meant regaining my enthusiasm. Now I actually look forward to my work again because I know I have the fuel to give it my all during the working hours and can still enjoy my life outside of work. Now, one of the main reasons I got back onto YouTube is to share my story and strategies because I wish someone had told me this when I had started out. It would have saved me so many years of fatigue and just frustration. Maybe you see a little bit of yourself in some of my old habits. Maybe you're hustling hard, but feeling the strain, or achieving milestones, but at the cost of your well-being. It doesn't have to be that way. You can actually chase your dreams and still have energy left for yourself and your family. Today, I'm asking you to take a hard look at how you're managing your day. Are you treating all hours the same, saying yes to everything, and totally exhausted at the end of each day? If so, it's time for a change. Try doing your own energy audit each week. Track when you feel most alive and when you feel most drained. Then rework your calendar, even if it's just a quick trial run. Try and put the most important things in your peak energy windows. Start saying no or later to tasks and requests that suck your time but don't truly move the needle. And make appointments with yourself to exercise, for family, for rest, whatever recharges you, and treat them as the priority commitments that they should be. Now remember, the goal isn't to do more things, but it's actually to do the right things with the right energy. Build a life and a business that's fulfilling, not one that is the expense of the other. Trust me, when you get this right, you become unstoppable. You'll get more done in less time and feel better doing it. You'll be a better leader, a better partner, and a better parent, all because you'll be showing up as your best self, not as the exhausted version of you. So if you found value in this, hit that like button and subscribe for more weekly insights on building a business and a life that you love. And also drop a comment. What's one change you'll make to manage your energy better? Maybe it's going to bed early, delegating a task you hate, or taking a day off. Let me know below. Now don't forget, manage your energy like your life depends on it, because it does.